data miner kata.
Boom! That's right, Thunder. We're bringing it with another data miner kata. I scared you, didn't I? New guest, and I immediately scared the guy. I'm so sorry. But as I said, new guest. Maybe let's start with that. Who are you and what do you do here at Skyline?
Okay, hi Jan. I am Pieter van Kompernal. I work in Skyline for about 22 years already.
Yeah. So, I think I've seen you around here or there.
Maybe. I've been doing a couple of things. I started as a developer in Cube. Then did a couple of other things. At this moment, I'm product owner of the data core domain.
Big domain, important domain.
I think it's the biggest one.
Yeah, a lot of, it says in the name, a lot of the core data miner things, really everything tying together what we deliver.
Monitoring, trending, services.
Yeah.
Up to augmented operations.
Yes, we've had a few interesting ones on that. You were pointing at your screen, you're doing something with augmented.
Yes, exactly. That was kind of a bridge to my session.
What is the topic? What are we doing today?
So the topic is a small recap, but then again, also a deep dive into an exercise we showed at Empower back in June.
Okay, cool.
So it's about anomalies.
Right.
Anomalies has been introduced here
Anomaly detection.
By the famous Dennis.
Yes,
right?
by Dennis. Definitely not Dris. Dennis. Last video is, it's fine. Keep going. So something to do with anomaly detection.
Anomalies. So maybe as a quick recap, we can show again what anomalies are.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll use Cube for that.
Yeah, okay, let's dig in. Let's have a quick recap.
So I have a Microsoft platform here. If we look at the trending of one of the parameters.
Yeah, total processor load, one of our more famous measurements to use for
It's
analysis.
An easy one.
Yes.
Everybody knows what it is. It's easy to understand. You see at the bottom of the chart, there are some small little rectangles there.
Yes.
Those indicate a change of behavior of a parameter. Okay, so we see a couple of those. For example, here, I think we see a level shift. Yeah, that's right. We can clearly see it in the trend as well.
Yes.
So data miner does that by itself. If at some point data miners thinks it's like a bad, a wrong behavioral change, it calls it, or it tags it as an anomaly.
Basically. Okay, an anomaly. Okay.
So in that case, the box here becomes darker, and you also get an alarm in your console or a suggestion event depending on how you configured it. Okay. And there's a couple of things of a couple of places in Cube where those anomalies pop up. Right.
Okay.
So here in trending, for example, if we go up to data display, we have the little icons here that illustrate the trend.
Yes.
If there is an anomalous change over there, that icon is also can also be colored to indicate an anomaly. Right.
Okay.
Also in the alarm console.
So then in the alarm console, we'll also be able to see like any possible changes or shifts that might be invalid.
If there is a level shift, for example, that is anomalous. Cube will hint it also here in the alarm console, like here, for example, and you can bring it up. Problem here is we don't have like the full overview to look back at the last day, the last week.
Okay.
So it's kind of difficult to look back to your system and check out the anomalies.
See what anomalies there were yesterday.
Yesterday, for example, because here we have like the recent ones, but those automatically clear after a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So
you've got something for us.
I've got
to
something.
Fix that.
Yeah. In the exercise back at Empower, we created a dashboard to create such an overview. So we'll look back at that.
Okay. Any prerequisites?
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
I almost forgot.
Anything we need to set up. So we're going to need a data miner, I'm guessing.
A data miner system.
Do you need something specific, or can you?
I'll come back to it in the exercise, but it's best to have an indexing database.
Elastic or
an open search, indeed, or STAS.
Yeah,
of course.
So if you spin up a DAS, then if you spin up a DAS, you can do this tutorial perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then I see we have a catalog here, a data miner app package to install.
exactly.
Okay.
And this is already the solution of the exercise.
Okay.
I'll use that one. I will not create the exercise from beginning to end.
Okay.
That will take us a bit too long.
Right. So
We covered it at
Yes.
Empower. I've created a tutorial.
and there's
the
a
ones-
written one, so
There's a written
people
tutorial.
can follow along with a written tutorial. It's
Somewhere
just
in the
fine.
notes there will definitely be a link.
We'll link it. We'll link it somewhere again.
Yeah. Anyhow, install this package and you will have everything you need to follow the
Excellent.
exercise.
Okay, so we've installed it. We have the setup to have a look at. For people who want to do it from scratch, they can do it one by one, following the written tutorial.
Absolutely.
So we're going to fast forward to the written tutorial a bit and focus on some of the really key points.
Yes, exactly. Because
Awesome.
I created the exercise.
Okay. Thank you.
And while doing so, I came across a couple of challenges, I may say.
Okay.
And I think they are valuable enough to drill down
Yeah,
into,
for sure.
because you will see that they are not only valuable here for this particular exercise,
Mm-hmm.
but they can be valuable for many dashboards people create.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to.
A dashboard. So we're going
A
to be
dashboard.
creating a dashboard
Yeah.
to enhance the... Well, you mentioned we want to see what happens like a day ago, a week
Yeah,
ago.
we
and
want
all.
an overview of the anomalies.
Perfect.
And here it is. So when I installed the package,
That was quick. Okay, everyone,
Yeah.
thank you for watching. You can get... No, it's fine. So, okay, we've got an example here of the end result.
the end results. Exactly. So what do we have here on top in yellow? Two things.
Mm-hmm.
Two filters, basically, to filter down the list below.
Yeah.
At the right, there is a time range. So you can say like, okay, last day, last week, last
Yeah,
7
window
days,
of
whatever.
time you can...
A time window that applies to the lists. And then at the left,
Some
the
metrics.
types of anomalies
Right.
with the number of occurrences in the selected time
Right,
range.
some big
Yeah.
viewed metrics on that time window
If you
also.
make no selection by control clicking, you have the full list, and you'll see in the change type, it goes over the different types.
Okay.
If you click on one, the list
It'll
filters
filter
down.
down on that.
Yeah, exactly, to the ones that match with the folder.
Yeah. Okay.
That brings me to the first challenge.
Yes.
Jan. You have been creating dashboards, queries
A bit,
already.
yes.
You know or you don't know. Many of the sources we have in DataMiner
Mm-hmm.
have foreign keys, relations
Yeah,
to
yeah,
other
yeah.
pieces of data.
Yes.
And typically, those are done through IDs.
Yes, identifiers to say foreign key link
Yeah.
from one
An
table to another one or something.
An ID of an element,
Oh, yeah.
of
yeah.
a parameter.
Yeah.
But of course, if you want to show that in your dashboard, that's not so nice, right?
Well, it'll just be a column with a number, so...
A column with a number, it's not very clear and
No.
it's not very meaningful. So we want to get rid of the IDs.
Right.
So if we would just display here the list of raw anomalies,
Mm-hmm.
it will, instead of a nice element name,
Mm-hmm.
like server here, or a nice parameter name, like virtual memory size,
Uh-huh.
memory usage, it would just show the ID. That's
Okay.
not what we want. We want names.
Yeah, definitely not for a dashboard where you want to display something nice and easily understandable. Just
Yeah.
seeing a number is going to be like, okay.
Do you
Okay.
have any idea on how we can solve this?
How
For
we can
example, let's
solve
start by the element. Let's say you have a source and you have an element ID. How would you link the name in it?
it? Well, I know there is a parameter that holds the value of a name on like a connector or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say if it's an element ID, I'd probably dynamically try and say, give me the value of that parameter for that ID. But
That's one way.
it's probably...
But you have like a full list of element IDs and you do it one by one. Then
Yeah, it would work, but I
It would
have
work.
a feeling you've got
There is-
something
There's another way.
less hacky than my
There's another way. There's another way, and it's used a lot of queries. Let's
Okay.
say the thing is, and that's maybe one thing I want to mention first.
Okay,
So
sure.
I'm opening the query here that is linked to the list.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, you must know the behavioral change events is built in as a data source in the dashboard. So it's very convenient
the
to get
beginning
access.
of your tree of your query.
Beginning, we start
Get
with
behavioral
a built-in data source, get behavioral change events.
Yeah,
And then you see, if you look at the query, Jan, filter, filter, filter.
Yeah.
So that's very important. Why is that so important? Behavioral change events is quite large data set.
Yeah.
So we want to filter as soon as possible to keep the query
efficient.
efficient.
Yeah, performance-wise, you want to
Yeah.
reduce, so that any logic you do only happens on what really matters.
Typically, you start with something and then in the end you do some filtering.
Yeah.
Now put the filters on top to make your query very performant.
Cool. Okay.
Very important. So here I filter on
Start time, end time. I
started
see
anomalous,
a
so
bunch
the fact that a behavioral change is anomalous or not can be indicated. So all fine.
Okay.
Um,
And then I see an aggregation there.
yeah, but I'm opening the query for that one. Let's,
Okay.
let's go. Let's take the other query. So here again, filter, filter,
Okay.
filter.
Now that's the one for the table then.
Yeah, for the table. Also filter on what you've selected
Yes.
over there. All right. And then here's the trick to get the element ID, name, translation. There is a data source, get elements.
Yeah.
That source has the mapping between ID and name.
Yeah.
We join it with our table. What happens is we have an extra column there with the
Right.
names. We try to get rid of the ID columns.
So
and we
you hide
continue-
that one. Yeah.
We hide those columns, we continue with the name.
Right. Okay.
Very easy, you could say,
Okay.
but works well.
Yeah.
But there's another column, right? We have the parameter name.
Yeah, the one that we mentioned about the foreign key or kind of a foreign linking. Like, how do I change that?
Yeah. For parameters, we don't have a data source parameters, which holds all the IDs
Okay.
and all the names of the parameters.
All right.
But Jan, where is the parameter name defined?
That would be in the protocol XML or the connector or the yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So how can we translate an ID column to a name column then, if we know it's in the protocol?
If you know it's in a protocol, and to go from an ID to a name, I'm gonna guess we need to read out the protocol, or we ask data miner,
Yeah.
give me a list of all the parameters, or give me or read out the XML, or
Yeah.
either that way, or
We can create a source, but we don't know the parameters up front, so we are going to make use of a custom operator.
a custom operator. Okay. So,
Remember, a custom operator allows you to go from one or multiple columns of a row and
yeah.
change the value into something new. So we
Yeah.
go with our operator, we go from ID to name.
Yeah, and then the custom operator, that's a piece of code that you write, C#, and you say how to do it.
I'll show you. So that custom operator here, parameter key to name, it asks for a column where the parameter key is
the
located.
input, yeah.
So the parameter key is the element ID with the parameter ID, and then if it's a table, the index as well.
Okay.
And I have two optional columns here, protocol and version. If I would have a column in my list here with the protocol and version,
yeah, you
I
could
can use that because
reference those.
I will not dive too deep in that part here, but you know, parameter names come from the protocol, but on element level, you can also override it.
Yes.
Information
yes.
templates.
Information templates allow you to do that.
Yeah, or in data display, then that goes into your description XML.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this exercise, I use the element specific parameter.
The name that was configured in the actual connect. Yeah.
Because I do a translation from the element ID
Yeah.
together with the parameter ID,
Yeah.
and then to me. I'll show you how
Okay.
it's done.
So in that custom operator, is that something that you can just select, or do you need to make that, or is it
need
available
to make it.
on the
You need-
catalog? Or
It's available in the catalog.
Okay.
It's also on GitHub. If you
okay,
want to contribute to it, because it's a
So,
initial version.
you have to make it, but it exists, so you can kind of copy it over.
You
or...
can copy it. It's open to use for everybody. So
Cool. Okay. So we're gonna have a look at the code
Yep.
now itself of that custom operator that changes the the value kind of just an ID to actually a nice readable name
Yeah.
from a parameter. Okay.
Okay. So this is. Let me just make this a bit smaller. This is yeah, it's not a script, but it's an automation.
Yes.
So this is the logic of our operator. There's a lot of boilerplate things in there to get the arguments and so on. Let me show you the key things here. An important part here is in the on init.
Right.
And that's where I keep a reference to my data miner. So in order to get to the protocol,
You have to ask data miner about
I
it.
need to call an API method of data
Yes,
miner,
yes.
so I need a connection to it.
Yes.
Via the on-init, I get like an object to
That
get
represents the connection to an agent or to a cluster, and you can then ask things.
I can ask whatever I want then. Within the security context that I am in. That's very important.
Yeah, 'cause otherwise you could make an operator and just say, hey, give me all your secrets, and you're not allowed to...
Also, if you log in or I log in, it could be a different level of
security
access
clearance
level.
and access level.
So that's all applied in here through that link.
Yeah, through getting that connection already checks the users
Exactly.
and all of that credentials. Yeah.
The key logic is here in the handle row. We split the parameter key into an element part and a parameter part. And then we have two options. Either we have the protocol and its version.
Yeah,
Then we
mentioned
ask
the
the
optional columns. Yeah.
optional columns. Or we have the element ID.
Yeah.
Either way, we get to a get protocol method on our connection to data miner system. And then we just, let me see, with that protocol object, we just call the get parameter name for, and we copy then the value into a new column.
Right, so using the existing API, we can ask for all the names, and then we have that mapping, which is then used in this custom operator.
True. And that's actually also the way Cube does the translation. If at some point it has some information with IDs, parameter IDs, then
You will
in
do
one
that
way or another, we
mapping
need to
on
get
that.
to a protocol object
Yeah.
and translate it to a parameter.
Okay.
There is a small implementation of a protocol cache here. If we have like 10 rows,
Make it a little more performant.
of the same protocol that we do not call that.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. With that, I have my. Select that. We have our element resolved. We have our parameter resolved.
Yes.
And we have a nice list with elements and parameter names.
Beginning from which anomalies were detected in that time window, we get a list that has just identifiers, which is the challenge you mentioned. We focus on that challenge and we kick the butt of that challenge by making a custom operator that translates it into a nice visual.
Exactly. And you can use that outside the scope of these anomalies. You have parameter key columns everywhere.
Other places you might want to do that.
It's an easy way to translate those in whatever query you create. So.
Okay. Well, is there a chance we shouldn't be asking this on video, but I am. Is there a chance we should add this custom operator to like a default list of available operators?
That's an option. But I think
because I'm just I can guess some people might be thinking this. Like
the downside of that, Jan, is that you need a software upgrade then to get it
and then
at
you
your
have
system.
a specific minimum version, and then
I think through the catalog, if we share the operators ad hoc sources through there, it's very, very easy to get it on your system. Also to update it because it's an initial version. Makes an evolution.
Allows you to also update,
customize
it without needing an entire data miner upgrade.
Exactly. So there are some benefits also stepping away from the built-in sources.
For sure. Okay.
Good. First challenge. We have our names, so that's already nice.
Cool.
Let me go out of edit mode to illustrate the second one.
Okay.
So whenever I select an anomaly here,
I can see a trend.
A trend line, and then there is a timeline below it.
Yes.
With the the anomaly selected also in time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Like here, for example, a level shift.
How long it
illustrate.
took or the,
Yeah.
the anomaly.
To kind of, for the user to have a visual indication of how the anomaly looks like. You see, if I make different selections, look at the start time.
Okay.
So it started at 9, now it jumped to 6.
Okay, so it's dynamically
So it's
changing based on the anomaly you select.
Yeah, but it's not, so the anomaly has a start and end time. It's not a start and end time from the anomaly, you see. So it's, that one here is
okay.
152. So
Okay,
some
so
magic going on
Yeah,
there.
you've
right?
added something in there to do like a plus or minus around it to say,
Exactly.
because otherwise you'd have your entire window and it would be, here's the anomaly or there's the anomaly and you want to see it in the middle.
Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
go
See
a bit
what's
beyond
around the anomaly.
around the anomaly. That was also a bit of a challenge. Well,
Okay.
it was easily resolved because again we needed some code to extend, to change a bit of the default behavior. So I think you already guess what we have done here. We've created
I'm gonna guess another operator,
Another
custom
operator.
operator to actually
Yeah.
change the data that we use to create the
Exactly.
graph by slightly tweaking it.
slightly. The tricky part is this is with feeds, right?
Yeah,
It's not only
yeah,
the
so your,
data and the query.
yeah,
but
so
it's
your custom operator needs that feed as an input, right?
as the it will expose or change the feeds
Right. Yes.
that is exposed by the query. I'll
Right.
show you.
the
Let's
output.
first-
Yeah, the output needs to change.
So up to here, that was the ID to name resolving. Here I have the custom operator to play a bit with the time range. So time range feeds, and there is some input there. I have two columns, a start and end time column. Those are the ones that are already visible in the table, start time, end time. And then I indicate, like you guessed, amount of hours before, amount of hours
Right.
after. And then it's simply math,
Just a
of
window.
course,
Yeah.
in the operator here. Let's
Take a quick look.
look.
Time range extending.
Yeah, the name. It's always a difficult part of coding,
Spend too much time on thinking of
for me at least.
A good name does a lot. Eh?
It is.
The other developers thank you for
Yeah,
your
yeah,
due
yeah.
diligence with good naming.
I'm a big fan of good naming, but my names are typically a bit large.
Wait,
But anyhow,
if they say what they mean
they
to say, then
tend to be self-explaining.
excellent.
So
Okay.
time range feed extending.
Right.
What does it do? It
extends
extends
the
the
time
time
range
range feed.
Perfect.
So here we have the inputs, the start and amount of hours before and after as
Yes.
the inputs of our operator, and then it's like I mentioned,
you add
it's
to
math. It's the
start
start
and
time,
end,
end
yeah.
time. We add the range to it, and here's the tricky part.
Okay.
So setting the row values, that's common practice in operators.
Sure. Yeah.
But manipulating feeds, that's a special thing, right?
Yeah.
And therefore we access or manipulate the metadata of
Okay.
the row. So the metadata holds
The
all
feed.
the feeds that in the dashboard can be used to link components together.
Okay. Okay.
So what I do here, there is out of the box a feed with the start and end time column of our anomalies.
Yeah.
But I'm changing it. So I loop over the metadata
To
object.
find the
I find the one that says time range metadata, right?
okay.
And there
okay.
I alter the start and end time by the values I've calculated.
Right. So if you have a table that you're, selecting from, your selection will have metadata in the background.
Yes.
That metadata you can access through a custom operator and then manipulate through
I'm changing it here
crazy developer magic.
to a
But,
new
hey,
value.
Yeah.
It's- You see,
It's a nice
few
example.
lines, but it illustrates the power of operators again. Eh? It's
Yeah.
not only changing the data, but also the feeds.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's why I wanted to show this to you today as well.
Yeah, this
because
indeed
it's
quite powerful with
it's a powerful thing.
because you know dashboards. You know, we also talk sometimes in low code apps, and it's low code, low code,
Yep.
low code.
Yep.
But the power of that low code
It's
can
huge,
be
yeah.
can be enormous, and
Yep.
we see it here as well. Even though this isn't a low code app, it's a dashboard, but it's a similar concept.
It's the same.
You can add just a few extra lines of code. You don't need to be a crazy great developer to do it. You have nice examples that we're looking at right here that allow you to do those little tweaks and really, you know, step up the game, as it were.
Those are the
So-
little tweaks that make the difference. Eh?
It's
That's
very
how it works.
nice. Awesome. Okay.
Okay. That was the second challenge.
Sure.
The third thing I wanted to show you, Jan.
Okay.
Let me go back to the dashboard and show you. So what we see here is we have the anomalies, we have a trend, and then we have the timeline component at the
At
bottom,
the bottom, yes.
and we show the anomalies there.
Right.
Okay, that's nice.
Nice graphic, yeah.
Nice graphic. But the timeline allows you to show basically everything because you can show whatever GQI source in there.
Okay.
So you can show whatever you think is linked to your trending on there. For example,
Okay.
you have bookings or events in your system,
Yes.
and you know that those typically are related to your parameters. You can show them on there.
Okay.
You
so,
have
yeah.
you have weather API. for
Yeah,
example.
weather API, weather data.
The sun is shiny,
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty
It's
much.
a good day.
but let's say it's raining, stormy weather.
Yeah.
Could have an impact on some of your parameters.
Yeah, some of
So-
the satellite dish examples we've had where the gain and
Yeah.
reduces because of bad weather. So there is a correlation there. There is,
So for some specific dashboards for those parameters,
Yeah.
it could be nice to show weather
yeah,
information.
to show the weather information or
Let me
something
show you
related
something.
to it. Okay.
How about that?
There's the weather information.
It's-
Okay.
It's fake data.
Well, yeah,
It's a
but
fake API.
as
Didn't
a
want to
demo-
share a key.
well, as a demo, it's very interesting. Good, yeah.
But you can show whatever you want on there. And that's something I wanted to show as well.
Okay.
If we quickly go into the query
Yeah, so
here.
even though all the data that we're seeing above there is about that specific parameter and the anomalies and the trending and the data and the windows and all of that, but you can add additional completely, well, not unrelated, but data that is related to it
Yeah.
at the bottom
And you
there.
do it in the context of your low-code app, of your dashboard, if you think it
Yeah.
makes sense, right? So here we have like, it's fake data. You
Yes.
see it. It's ad hoc data. It's the Belgian weather, which is totally unpredictable,
Yes.
like you can see. So it's just a random function.
Yes, yes.
Anyhow,
It looks realistic because it's random. That's Belgian weather.
that's
for
why.
you.
That's why. And you can believe it. If you look
Yeah,
at it,
yeah,
that's
it
that's
looks
how the
believable.
Belgian weather looks like. Eh?
completely
Definitely.
believable.
Another relation. I said you can show whatever is outside data miner in that dashboard. We could also try to link data. Let me see here for the trend change maybe. Data from within data miner, but that is a bit farther or deeper away. Eh?
Okay.
Do you remember time-scoped relations, Jan? Otherwise, I'll quickly show you.
Quick recap there. Time-scoped relations.
So, we have a trend graph,
Yes.
and we have like a certain region that you say, oh, that's remarkable. You have here a list of parameters that are related because
Yeah.
at more or less the same time period, and there is some relation with that parameter, it's the same millimeter.
Okay, yes.
And it also changed behavior, so it's here shortlisted for you
yeah,
to also load into the system.
it's a
because
suggestion.
It's a
because
suggestion.
It says we, or at least the system, has analyzed and detected there might be a correlation.
There
or-
might be a correlation with it. It also changed behavior at the same
Yeah,
period
yeah.
in time. We can access that data in our dashboard.
All
I'll
right,
show
so
you.
the suggestions themselves can actually be visualized and
Cube does an API call to the backend
that, so-
to get those.
We should be able to get them as well.
Exactly. So here I loaded from a specific anomaly, there's a trend changed, and I'm like, is there something related maybe around that
Yeah.
time? And here I have a list of parameters that are also related based on
Okay.
the API call to get the time scope relations.
Yeah.
So you see, there is also something remarkable around that time, the same time of our trend change.
Yeah, and the change here is in the dashboard. You can graphically visualize it, make it, pop
Again,
a little bit,
the key thing is get it into a query,
and then
you can play with it like any source.
Yeah,
So that's I believe also very powerful.
Yeah,
Quickly
for
show you
sure.
what it looked like. It's basically an ad hoc source, and that's about it. Quickly showing you that here in Cube.
So this is now not a custom operator, but an ad hoc data source.
An ad hoc data source.
So-
It's a full data source.
Getting data from specifically through a little script where you say, I just need that data, and not like an entire connector to get everything. You want a very specific detail.
Yeah.
You can do that. Yes.
And through that, you can actually access anything from data miner. So any API call we can do to data miner,
Yeah.
like a time scoped relations with a
Okay.
couple of input arguments, like from what parameter do we start, and then from what time range do we start. If we then pass those along into the API call,
Yeah.
return the results back in rows, we can use it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what that
Script
source
here is doing
is
the
doing.
source, yeah.
So we have the parameter start time, end time.
So funnily enough, this ad hoc data source is actually using data miner as the data
Yeah.
source.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the power here.
And then that gives us access to everything data miner exposes.
yeah, so if there
Every-
is something that you want that might be missing from the out-of-the-box standard dashboard components, something data related, with an ad hoc data source and a little bit of coding, again, many examples available, you can actually get,
If you see something in Cube and you think like,
I
that's
want that.
interesting,
You can do it.
follow the connection, see what message is being sent, put it in an ad hoc source,
Yeah.
and you have it.
Awesome.
Be careful.
We have to say be
IPA,
careful. Yes.
APIs do change over time.
Of course.
So if you do that in production, be prepared for some regression testing
Yeah.
before upgrading your system, of course.
Yeah, because you are kind
Yeah.
of hooking into some
kind
of
of-
the API calls and could change, especially I think the newer ones, if it's like new features, if
Yeah.
especially soft launch things, I mean,
Soft launch things are tend to
tend
change.
to change a little more
Yeah.
often, but
The other things, we have Cube backwards compatibility as well. So, but
having some regression tests is never a bad thing. So I
Exactly.
think that's a good shout out either way.
very briefly,
Yes?
this is the message I'm sending. This is the API call. I pass along the parameters from my inputs, and then I process the result from it. I loop over the different relations I get back, put them in columns,
Yeah.
fill in some feeds, and that's basically it. And then I use it.
Awesome. All right.
I'm
well,
at the end of my
I mean,
story.
impressive story. You've really blown my mind. And there's been a lot of very interesting things that you shared. you know?
I hope it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Is there anything we should tell the people who are following along or who are doing this? Should they screenshot a particular
Yeah.
thing? Maybe I think we showed most of the first challenge, maybe like that dashboard or something, or what would you consider?
Dashboard, or for me, one of the key things I showed was the feed manipulation in the operator.
The feed manipulation in the
If the
operator. So
users
that was,
could
yeah.
maybe make the selection of the key logic in the operator I showed, the
Yeah.
key logic that manipulates the feed, and then
Yes.
send that over, then I kind of see that they understood
Okay.
the
Then-
essence of that. So that would be my suggestion if you
Well,
do
hey, there's a challenge issued forth to all our viewers. If you want to get some nice DevOps points, then in this case, the challenge here is to take a screenshot of your work or your development or your result from adjusting the feed
Yeah.
within a custom operator. right?
True.
Yep. There we go. Well, thank you. Oh, you were gonna say something.
Yeah,
I already
I
shook his hand. See you, man. We're done. No, what are you gonna ask?
I want to know what you learned, Jan, today.
Oh no!
What are the key takeaways from this session?
The key takeaways from the session. Well, I have learned that pretty much if you have any data in Cube and you want to show it on a dashboard and you don't see the default way of doing it, you can always do it. You can either make a custom operator to do things like changing the feed, to do things like adjusting from a ID or a number into a nice name. All of that I've learned here. We can do with a little bit of coding in a custom operator, which you can then add to is it a GUI query? It's a query, yes.
Yeah, true.
So within a dashboard or a low-code app.
True.
We saw it with the dashboard. So I'm pretty sure that was a very key takeaway for me, that kind of...
Those are the top ones.
It encapsulates a lot
very
of...
briefly, filter as soon as possible as well.
Yes.
Very important for many sources. Performance is always key.
Yes.
Easy access to some built-in sources for Anomaly. It's there ready to use. And then again, or finally, dashboards is great for overviews.
Yes.
You have a lot of things integrated in Cube.
And you want to make something pop and really see what matters to you.
Dashboards, low-code apps are typically a solution.
Now I'll shake your hand. Thank you very much for preparing this and showing this to us. Thank you everyone for watching, following along. And yeah, if you have any questions, don't forget you can always send those into our email. What is it again? thunder@skyline.be, I believe. Yeah, Marketing is shaking his head. It's new season. It's been a while, guys. It's been a while. I'm getting up to speed again. But anyway, if you're watching from YouTube, do not forget to like, subscribe, and you can ring that notification bell to make sure you get a notification every time we upload a new video. Other than that, yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one, and good luck.